Good morning, everybody. It's Friday, December 27th, and this is the AgYield War Room. I'm Dan Dempsey, and I'll be moderating today's session. As always, if you've got any questions or comments, please feel free to drop us a line in the chat area, and we'll be sure to get to it during the show. Overnight markets here, March corn unchanged, 453 3/4. March soybeans were down 1.50 cents. Excuse me, 995 3/4. And March Chicago wheat was up a half at 541 1/2. This morning, excuse me here. A frog in my throat. This morning's weekly export sales, solid for corn, 1.7 million. Top end of the range was looking for like 1.6. So another good week of sales for corn. Soybeans came back below the lower end of the estimates, 978,400. They were looking for kind of towards 1 million at the low end. Wheat was solid, 612,400. Meal kind of middle of the range, 389,600, and a solid week for oil. 40,400. The upper end of the range was looking for 15. We continue to talk about kind of a drier weather forecast in Argentina. Certainly yesterday, lots of chatter about the meal complex, being considerably higher. It was up like 4.5% or so at one point there. Corn with a nice post-Christmas Day pop. So, Dustin, maybe just a few thoughts on your mind here as we wrap up the week, and then we'll throw it around the room.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. I think that's the Argentinian dryness is the main reason we're starting to see some of this, movement that we're seeing. Oil share dropped less than 40% for the first time since October. That's mainly been from a meal pop. So meal's been kind of leading the charge. And, technically corn is on a breakout. We're above that 200-day moving average on a settlement for the first time in that March contract since 2023. So I'd be curious to see where we go from here. I think there's a little bit less focus on the markets during the holiday, window. We have heard of just some small basis drops, on this rally, different key spots. I think Decatur dropped like 2 cents. So that's, I think, reflective of the first time we've had a selling opportunity in the March contract at this price since June. And we're just going to the time frame where it matters. A lot of people want to deliver into the first of the year. So it's kind of a gift to the market. But meanwhile, we still have these premiums, old crop over new crop. July, for example, well over 20 cents over the December contract. And supposedly we're going to have, records of Safrinha crop for around that time frame. I think the weather premium is starting to be built in. We count on Argentina for a decent amount of corn exports. 16 million metric tons is I think the last WASDE report. If there's any threat to that with this, 35-40% of normal rainfall at this time of year, it's a critical time of year, then the market's rightfully, in my opinion, putting that premium in, and could get interesting here because we're at that 10% stocks to use ratio ex China for corn, and that's really the one that probably needs to ration some demand here.
Very good, Ben. A meal rally is a real rally. Our good buddy Nick Fry in Indiana. What's some thoughts from the veteran in the group here this morning?
I think it still goes back to, Dustin wasn't direct in saying it, but I think, again, I sensed in his voice just a tad bit of caution on where we're at here. And I feel the same way. You get thinner holiday markets, and we're heading into a period where we think that corn has to flow freely. But when you get a move above the 200-day moving average, if you can sustain it, it's a wake-up call for long-term trend type of buyers. And the old saying is they won't get fired for losing 20 cents if they're wrong. They'll get fired for losing $1 if they miss it. And I'm not saying that corn is going to rally $1, beans is going to rally $1, but these are some pretty long-term kind of patterns that we see when you get over these bigger, longer-term moving averages. So I think, you kind of take this into the new year, see what they want to do at the end of the year, if they want to take profits or they want to add to their positions. And, I think now it's where do you wind up in early January and then post-report. So a lot of corn out there that is unpriced, a lot that's going to have to move. So we'll see how it plays out over the next few days. I wouldn't be too married to anything from here today.
Yeah, no, that's very good. But one thing that we always point out too, guys, and is have some working orders if you've got some dream sales in your mind, because as we get thinner and thinner as we go into even next week into the first of the year, you never know what can happen, right? You get some crazy little spike and you get something off, and it's a sale that you're pretty pleased with if you had that dream. So you can call your consultants and visit about that. What were you going to say, Ben?
I thought yesterday it was interesting. We had a strong day in corn and a strong day in beans. And it's the first time that we've been up, 4 to 6 cents in a long time. And we saw March D spread hold water yesterday. We didn't see March really gain on D's. And I think that's something too that kind of you look out of one corner of your eye and go, all right, are we getting to a place where maybe we're starting to price correctly, where doesn't have to be March continually gaining on 25 corn. And then we rallied up 15, 16 cents in beans, and we saw Jan March move out 3 or 4 cents. So there'd be kind of atypical rallying type of moves that you would see in the spreads of what you would think. So we'll see today. Options go off in Jan beans. Tremendous amount of options were open there heading into this period. Probably reconciliation of a lot of puts. Beans, I think I'm probably more interested to see where they're at come next Tuesday.
Yeah. Do you got any big strikes you're looking at here today as we take those options off, Ben? Is there any?
There's some pretty good open interest in the 980s, fair amount in the $10. So we'll see what plays out here.
980s could be kind of interesting here as we go through the day. Always interesting how we kind of gravitate, right?
Yep.
No, very good. Rye, pretty exciting day, I should say, in the cattle complex yesterday. Huge pop in cattle, but hogs were a little slower to react to everything. So why don't you put a bow on the week for us?
Yeah, I didn't really see much news out there. I mean, it just kind of felt like it was maybe a little bit of a holiday squeeze, but overall just kind of seemed like the cash started to pick up maybe a little bit. Maybe this got everybody a little bit whooped up, but beef choice was $4 higher. Select was $2 higher. So these big gains in beef, it just makes it feel like demand is still really strong. So at this point, I think that's probably what was happening. It just feels like overall waiting to see a little bit more cash trade to pick up. But generally, like, we're coming into that time frame just over the next 2-3 weeks where prices are seasonally pretty vulnerable just because of the holidays. So overall, it just kind of feels like maybe a bit of caution from some of the producers out there may spark some hedge pressure once trade opens here today and going into the new year. As far as hogs go, yeah, virtually dead trade. We're just kind of consolidating around the 10-day moving average. It seems like just the trade in general is just very cautious after the hog and pig report. It's kind of big longs in the market, just kind of waiting to see, who's going to start selling into them. So, I mean, at this point, the fundamentals really haven't changed much. I mean, we've seen maybe a little bit of weakness in cash over the past several weeks, but generally it's holding up really well. Carcass was up $1.07 yesterday. Bellies were up almost $2. So once again, the meat trade is still pretty firm on the demand side. So it just feels like the market's waiting for something to react to at this point. So maybe we get into next year and, the concerns over Mexican tariffs and potential trade wars with Canada and Mexico. I mean, the devil's going to be in the details with those. I think the market's well aware that there's potential for that to happen. Just nobody wants to move yet. So just kind of watching and waiting and seeing if we're just going to stay this choppy for the rest of this session.
Very good. Appreciate the update. These short and sweet war rooms as we go into the holiday markets. Hope Brian's all teed up and ready here because it is Friday and it's everybody's favorite segment. So it's Fun Fact Friday with Brian. What do you got for us, buddy?
Thanks, Dan. Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday, everybody. Made it again. I'm going to get everybody ready to ring in the new year with some New Year's Eve fun facts. The first ever ball in Times Square was dropped in 1907 after they banned fireworks. The embers were dropping on the patrons down below and causing a little bit of issues with some burning. So this was a much safer route. The current ball is 12 feet in diameter. It weighs 11,875 pounds. It is covered in 2,658 Waterford crystals with 32,000 lights and over 16 million different combinations of those lights. So that's kind of cool. 3,000 pounds of confetti will be dropped in Times Square as the clock hits midnight. And on those confetti are people's wishes. They send it into the New York Times and they write their wishes. So that was kind of neat. I never knew that. With all that confetti coming down, there's people's wishes on there for a new year. Speaking of a new year, 360 million bottles of champagne will be consumed on a New Year's, leading to the highest blood alcohol content during the year at 0.095. So yeah, definitely a little buzzed going into the new year. Here are some fun superstitions. Dan, I don't know if you go with this one, but Italy and Spain wear red underwear for good luck for the new year. Amen. Also, what you should eat on New Year's for good luck is pork. The fattiness of pork is the sign of wealth. And black-eyed peas, which is also a sign of good fortune. Rylan, I think you will agree with this. Foods to stay away from: lobster and chicken, because they can walk backwards. So you won't be able to, go into the new year. You'll be stuck going backwards if you eat that on New Year's. So
a lot of people have the lobster. Wow.
Right?
That's why the hog market won't break.
Right?
So I get it now.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, pass the bacon, Second Friday in January is called Quitter's Day. All your resolutions, people will have failed and moved on and don't make it past the second week. So that's interesting as well. And lastly, I will leave you with a very corny joke for New Year's. What is Corn's favorite holiday?
What?
New Year's Eve.
That just
hey Ben, you be ready next week. All right, we're going to the lefty.
You gotta keep it all at, baby, when you can.
Oh, dad jokes never go old, Bri.
Lefty.
Wow.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Very good, guys. Bri, thanks for that, buddy. That was good stuff. Appreciate everybody that tunes in on a daily basis. Throw us a like and subscribe. It'll keep you up to speed on everything AgYield. And why would you ever want to miss a Fun Fact Friday with Brian? You never know what you're going to get there. So, no, we appreciate everybody that supports the show. We're doing this live every day that the markets are open, streaming live on X, Facebook Live, and YouTube Live, 8:15 Central Time. Appreciate the thoughts and comments this week, guys. I know it was kind of a crazy week. We'll have the same schedules next week. Hope everybody has a great weekend. We look forward to talking to you Monday.
The War Room is proudly presented by AgYield. For over 50 years, the AgYield team has provided grain marketing and risk management solutions for growers across the country. Our veteran consultants harness cutting-edge technologies to pinpoint risk, optimize market performance, and protect your farm's profitability. Discover a new approach to farm revenue management at agyield.com.
Hey guys, Jack here. Be sure to support the show by hitting the like button, leaving us a comment, and subscribing to the channel for all the latest updates. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.